All right, so let's talk about spring vegetables. And then, like I said, I want to just keep this kind of short so that we can get to questions, because you've seen me for several months in a row now. And I would love to just hear how your own endeavors in the plant-based kitchen are going. So plant-based foods for spring include, let me see. Oh my gosh, my computer's doing all sorts of crazy things. Okay, includes in New England, this will be different based on where you are in the world, right? Like in Florida, for example, they've got just about all their crops are coming up, and they actually take the summertime because it's so hot and dry. Most of the summer season there, although it does rain every day. It's just so hot that not a lot of things grow. So they're really enjoying the bumper crop of their fresh produce around this time of year, and then again in the fall. So around here, we enjoy different things like artichokes and asparagus, avocados, carrots, chives, fava beans, fennel, anything that you kind of think of that has that light, bright spring kind of quality. And actually, Mother Nature plants these foods strategically to grow and produce fruit or produce, you know, their ideal weight and their ideal, just to be at their ideal picking. I don't know what the word is I'm searching for, but you know what I'm saying, right? Where, you know, a fennel bulb will grow for a couple of months and then it will be perfect for picking this time of year. It happens this way because the foods that are harvested this time of year are able to bring our body so much awesome nutrients to help us thrive in whatever season we're in and whatever season we're headed into. So things like asparagus and fennel and leeks and peas and radish and spring greens, those are very astringent on our body, very bitter in taste, and they actually help to clean our body out of all that winter mucus that's been building up. We've been eating lots of comfort foods and warm winter foods and things to keep us grounded. Speaking of Ayurveda, there's my Ayurvedic practitioner calling. Sorry about that. It's important to transition out of winter and into spring. And so embracing many more of these foods that I'll continue through this list, but foods that are astringent and bitter really help our body to clean out. And you can call it detox, reset, cleanse, whatever word, you know, is approachable for you. But really you want to think of it just as a spring reset. So like I said, nature's new year is this time of year. It's not actually in January where it's in the smack middle of winter. That's just the new year as far as the calendar is concerned. It's really this time of year when things start to come alive again, right? And then we carry through a beautiful spring, summer, and fall season, and then things kind of start to go into hibernation, where we get the last of our fall harvest, the leaves fall off the trees, and we kind of go into this winter hibernation. And then we emerge again in the spring. So I personally try to live a little bit more aligned to nature's natural kind of cycle. And this is just, I think, my favorite time of year. It's so exciting. I'm like those gifs of like those little kids that are excited, you know, that like they just can't wait to party. That's how I feel this time of year. So fennel I covered. Let me see, leeks. So leeks are, probably everybody knows what leeks are, and you can use those. They're like, basically, if you don't know what they are, they're like a large version of scallions or green onions, they're sometimes called. The flavor is more intense. They can hold a lot more dirt, but they're great to use in place of onions or in addition to onions, and they're phenomenal in soups and stir fries and different things. Mangoes, morels, peas, pineapples, potatoes, rhubarb, spinach, and watercress, right? Like strawberry rhubarb, that's a real popular dessert or kind of combination this time of year because rhubarb is a bitter green. And actually it kind of looks like pink celery. So those are some spring vegetables to favor. And, you know, you want to think also about how can you honor the actual plant, like not trying to make it into something that it's not. How can you just simply add some roasted or steamed fresh asparagus? Like asparagus, when you purchase it, should be actually quite thin, not those big fat stalks that we can buy in the grocery store any time of year, but rather they're very thin and they're very delicate almost when you purchase them fresh and in season. And so for any of these things, I like to go to you know, any kind of local farm stand, farmers market if they're holding those again where you live, Or you can just be on the lookout at your supermarket. These types of foods should be on sale. That's usually a dead giveaway. Whatever's on sale at the market is likely what's in season, right? Or whatever's featured towards the front of the department is very likely what's in season, especially if you shop at more of those health food stores. We all know what those are. And if you don't shop there, that's okay too. You can always find, within whatever market, you can always find sort of these different, kind of specialty or more unique or more local foods. If you just look hard enough, honestly, and get creative and get curious at what these different foods taste like. And then to help further connect with the flavor that they bring, and even just in noticing and appreciating the potency, and again, just that flavor that local and in-season produce can bring, try just eating, peas plain, or asparagus like just steamed and plain, or carrots again plain, and go slow with it. It's a practice called mindful eating, so you can really appreciate the different textures and flavors and just the feel in your body of what it's bringing. So carrots, for example, are quite crunchy and very sweet sometimes. And you might even say that in-season carrots, locally grown carrots, are very carroty. Like the carrot flavor is actually so much more pronounced than if you buy, baby carrots that were produced and harvested, all the way across the country, something like that. Another good example is avocado. So avocado actually in your mouth will nearly dissolve and melt like butter. So avocado is a great one to just kind of start understanding and using in your home as nature's butter. So there are all sorts of different things that you can do to bring more of these foods into your diet. And if you're still confused, or you have some specific things you have questions on, we can save that for kind of the second half of our time together. And then I'm always happy to have a chat with people, totally no strings attached, how to go plant-based discovery calls, so that you can get those questions answered, so you can move yourself forward 1 or 2 steps more than, wherever you are right now, because what works in your kitchen and what flavors you like. I'm just a rebel and someone who's not afraid to try new things, where a lot of people can be afraid when it comes to their food. I know Perla and Crystal, that is not the case for you, which is, I think, why we get on so well. But food is just a magical experience when you choose to see it that way, and when you choose to see your food as fuel and as self-care, which I spoke about, I think, a couple times ago. So I'm going to pause here and bring back so I can see all your faces. Everyone's still with us? Yes? Beautiful. Okay. So I want to talk next about not boosting your immune system, right? Because we can think about supporting our immune system by embracing more of those seasonal foods, all of those things I just talked about for spring. But you want to also think about the other side of the coin, right? The yin and the yang kind of. What are you currently doing in your life that is really a problem for your immunity? So are you not spending time outside in the fresh air, getting some of that vitamin D? Maybe are you supplementing with vitamin D? That can often be a good way to support your immune system. Are you getting enough sleep? Are you handling stress appropriately for whatever kind of stress is in your life? Are you moving? Are you committed to a workout routine? I know that all of you are, which is great. But the last real huge piece to consider, and one that not enough people, especially as all of this unfolded on us last year, something that so many people still are overlooking, I hate to say, is sugar. Sugar is by far the number one way to light your immune system on fire, in the sense that you're basically burning it down, not lighting it on fire, that you're activating it to support you. It's very destructive on our immune system. And I want to tell you just the top 10 ways why. So the number one first, of course, is that it's addictive. So it actually stimulates the release of dopamine, that feel-good chemical in the brain. That's why we keep eating and craving more of it, because as we consume more, our body wants more of whatever we're eating. So sometimes to break those cycles, you need to kind of trick your brain and your body and embrace more vegetables. And then eventually all those foods that you want to give up no longer have a place on your plate because there's no room for them. So number one, sugar is addictive. Number two, sugar damages your immune system. Hello, that's kind of what we're talking about here, right? So it reduces the efficiency of your white blood cells for hours at a time after consumption. And the white blood cells, by the way, are the ones that play defense inside our body that beat those intruders, the variants, all of that other stuff. So we need to support our white blood cells. And the best way to do that is to not eat sugar. It also robs our body of essential minerals. So it leaches calcium, magnesium, potassium, and sodium from our body. That's why it weakens teeth and bones. That's why it causes tooth decay and osteoporosis. I love going to the dentist because I don't eat sugar anymore. So I know there's no way that they could possibly tell me I have cavities. So I go for my cleanup, my polish, everything's all fine and dandy and it's fantastic. But people who eat a lot of sugar, usually most people, they hate going to the dentist just because of what I just shared. It robs your body of those minerals and it degrades your teeth so quickly. Cancer loves sugar. This is reason number 4. It's the number 1 food for cancer. I'm going to probably just leave it at that because I'm not supposed to make health claims, but these companies are allowed to make these outrageous claims. So go figure that one. But consuming too much sugar just causes our body to produce excessive amounts of insulin, which encourages the growth of cells. Good thing for healthy cells, but not for those cancerous cells. So it's going to fast track that cell production, whether they're good or bad. Your body doesn't really know the difference. Okay, number 5, consumption of sugar is detrimental to the liver. And this, let's say, tie that back into wine. We know wine and alcohol are processed by the liver. And when your wine contains extra sugar that doesn't need to be there, your liver is working already pretty hard to process that through your body, but it's working overtime to process all that sugar, up to 16 grams or more per bottle of wine. And it turns into fat, right? We know extra sugar in the body turns into fat, which builds up over time. And then, you can paint the picture from there. Number 6, sugar causes insulin resistance, diabetes, and weight gain. Insulin basically drives glucose into the cells from the bloodstream. Elevated blood glucose is then toxic. So when excessive amounts of that glucose can't be used properly, the pancreas goes crazy, trying to secrete insulin in order to remove it from the bloodstream. And then it leads the body to becoming insulin resistant. So it's just, we have these brilliant computers inside our body. Our body is a computer, a human computer. All we have to do is give it the right fuel. It's literally that easy. It's the same for our cars. We love our cars. They get us from A to B and anywhere in between. But we only put in gasoline, not dishwashing detergent, not hair gel, not bleach, not orange juice, gasoline, because that's the fuel for the car to keep it healthy and to live a long life, to take us on all the road trips and the places we want to go to. Our body thrives on plant-based food. And for some people, bioindividuality plays a role here. For some people, animal protein or eggs or dairy, things that are clean, that are responsibly sourced, locally grown, hopefully, certainly not all the mass-produced kind of garbage that a lot of people have their hands on for most of their nutrition, but not because they don't want to do good things for their body. We just are confused. We've been bombarded by the wrong messages for too long. That was a tangent I wasn't planning on going on, but I think it was pretty good. Number 7, sugar causes premature aging. I don't know about you, but I want to look like this till I'm 130 years old. So I am not going to touch sugar. It attaches to proteins in the bloodstream, resulting in what's called AGEs, AGEs, advanced glycation end products. And those damage collagen and elastin production, that thing that your body stops making at around age 30, that then you could supplement if you like to have supple skin and all of that. And basically, if you don't know, maintains skin's elasticity. Okay, last 3 here. We're coming in for the landing. Sugar leads also to depression, anxiety, chronic fatigue, irritability, and mood swings. Yowza, I do not want any of those things because it spikes your blood sugar and that feel-good serotonin level in the brain. So we experience a crash, which creates that cycle of craving and binging in our bodies and our minds. And that's not fun for anyone. And that's kind of how you just get stuck in that hamster wheel cycle of, needing the sugar for the high and then crashing down, and then needing the sugar for the high and then crashing. I have found personally that natural forms of sugar that come from fruit and food, they make me feel so much more even keeled. And I would even argue much more energized and just kind of living at this new energetic baseline that feels so much more alive than I ever had before. And I'm just really getting started. So look out, world, for all the energy that Chef Lauren's about to bring. Okay, number 9, sugar increases hyperactivity in children. Yes, if you have kids or grandkids in your life, you can even kind of experiment with them. It's not a cruel experiment, I don't think, but give them sugar for a couple of days and then take them off of it for a couple of days. You will know 2 different children. It's phenomenal, some of the stories that I've heard from people who have taken their kids off sugar, and they're like, they are like the most pleasant humans ever. And then if they get 1 hit of sugar, they become, it's like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Okay, and number 10, sugar can affect your cholesterol. Lots of people talking about cholesterol. High sugar consumption lowers the level of your good cholesterol. That helps to remove the bad. And it just throws your body off completely. And artificial sweeteners, stay away from those too. Those have absolutely no nutrition and carry tons of harmful side effects. So what can you use? Maple syrup, raw local honey. You could even use, if you wanted to, within reason, like agave, stevia, monk fruit, coconut sugar, date sugar, medjool dates. And I'm kind of in a place, luckily now, where all of those things are enough. Sometimes they're too sweet, but I used to love sugar. I studied pastry, for crying out loud. I was addicted to this stuff. Ice cream every day, so much sugar. If I can beat it, anyone can beat it. And I promise you, life is better and cleaner and smoother and happier and sweeter without sugar. So that's what I have to offer you for today. I would love to stop talking and open it to you guys and see what resonates or what questions you have. That was a lot.
So I think that the sugar thing is,
I knew that's what she was gonna say.
yeah, well, because when my daughter, who will be 25 on the 27th, but when she was maybe 8 years old, she went to Maine for a few weeks. And when she came home, not only was she bloated, but she was digging through my cupboards looking for any kind of sugar. This child, and if I hadn't have witnessed this, I felt so bad. I took her to the doctor, like she had put on some pounds in a very short time. I ended up using dried fruit and making like balls with peanut butter, and like we do the little power balls to get her through, to like almost detox her.
Yeah.
From this. I mean, it was so sad to watch. And the other thing, one of the things I love to teach in my nutrition class is during when we talk about food labels, the orange juice. Back in when I was a kid, right? Mama would be like, oh, you're sick, give them orange juice. Do you know how much sugar is in 1 cup of orange juice? So then you give them orange juice. Oh, they're feeling better, right? They're running all around. And then all of a sudden they crash. And it's like, oh, they're feeling better. Now they're tired. We never thought about it as a sugar crash, right?
Yeah.
Anyway,
That's so interesting and scary, right? It's like really scary for that experience with your daughter. And it's just so true. Like the withdrawal from eating so much sugar can be, and even in kids, you see it because their bodies are so much smaller.
it was like nothing I had ever witnessed before, nor would I choose to again.
Yeah.
I don't eat a lot of sugar. In this past weekend, I kind of had a little sugar that I normally don't have, such as like a little Snickers bar, the mini ones. And I felt like crap the next day from the sugar. Now, my husband, he's a sugar hound, and he's actually been like telling me, it's added sugar, and it's, this is okay. It's the added sugar you got to look at. And, I sometimes I just let it go in one ear and out the other with him, because I'm a little more educated due to Perla and Crystal and, and all that. But I notice when he doesn't eat sugar, he's a totally different person. When he eats sugar, he's real hyper and, and all that. But when he doesn't eat the sugar, he's very mellow. And like last night, he actually refused to have, I buy this non-dairy ice cream for him. He didn't even want it. So hopefully I'm weaning him off the sugar.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I think over time too, you can feel, as you did,
Right.
you can feel how it responds in your body. You can feel the aftertaste in your mouth. Like there's just so much about it when you can notice, when you give your body space to live without it.
Right.
And then you bring it back and you're like, whoa, wait a second. Like this is not what I thought that it was, or, I feel weird.
Right. Yeah. Made me feel, ugh.
Yeah.
Can we go back to the vegetables? You said something that I never, was it monk? I'm looking for my notes now. I was cleaning
Yeah,
up my
moral.
desk.
Moral. that's
Moral,
it was.
what is that?
I'm like, I have morals, but I think this is different.
Or morels, mushrooms.
Mushrooms.
Oh.
Oh, well, I eat lots of morels.
Okay.
Is that a kind of mushroom, Lauren?
Yep. They're kind of like French gourmet. But if you don't have access to those, just any mushrooms, I think are good. The more mushrooms, the better, as far as I'm concerned. And
Well,
they
I like
are,
those.
don't forget, they are a whole separate classification of species plant, right? Like they do not just fall under the vegetable category. And
Mhm.
we don't even know, I don't think, the amount of edible mushrooms that are available for us. And I'm just kind of getting into that world myself. As far as like cooking with them, there are some really cool companies. Actually, I think up in New Hampshire, there are a couple of really interesting mushroom companies. And I know in Rhode Island as well.
We
Has
have
some.
mushrooms that's local to us. That would be the place that I would probably go.
Dunks, yeah. A friend of mine actually goes harvesting. He is an expert at it. So he goes hiking through
Oh,
the
yeah.
woods or when he's hunting, and I wouldn't dare to do that because God only knows what I'd end up with. But
Is that cherry? Yeah.
no. It's another
Okay.
Another friend.
from Raymond.
Another queen.
Yep, I love it because he brings me like fiddleheads and mushrooms and the things that he's like, well, it's the things that no one else will eat with me. He knows Pearl will eat them. I love it. He just drops them off.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm speaking to the addiction aspect of things. When Josh will bring home, like, he knows better than to get a whole box of Oreos if he wants to have something sweet and bring it into the house. Because let's face it, he also likes to indulge. It doesn't happen all the time, but you know, from time to time, he gets just the sleeve. And I got to tell you, even though I know it's bad for me, I know I feel like crap when I eat it. There's this tingly feeling that happens where I'm just all of a sudden just like someone just brought sugar in the house. Do you know what I mean? Because like I grew up on like eating Cheez-Its and Doritos and Kraft mac and cheese. Like it wasn't the best, right? So that just know I'm coming from that. That's my background. So I get it. Eating all kinds of processed, quick, fast snacks, right?
Yeah.
And I just don't think that, I mean, I also ate a lot of vegetables and had really great home cooked meals. Like, let's not just make my parents look like monsters, but, you know, it's one of those things where they just didn't know that stuff. Like when I was a kid, they just didn't know how really detrimental it can be for focus and alertness and paying attention and the class. And, you know, it makes sense that I had ADD and could never focus, you know?
Yeah.
So even in this day with the background and the knowledge, and I don't want the Oreo, and 99.9% of the time I don't eat the Oreo, I'm human, right? But it's just so crazy just how addictive that stuff is. I mean, I have seen children, like you were talking about, climb up the counter and try to get to the top of a fridge, like trying to get to something sweet. It's insane.
Yeah.
Well, I just ordered a tower garden, so I'm gonna try my hand at actually growing my own fruits and vegetables, whatever it comes with. So looking forward to that because I've never had a garden.
Wonderful.
Ooh, it's so much fun.
Yeah, pick my own.
Yeah, I can't wait to hear how that goes, Sue. Keep me informed.
Yeah. Okay.
So these morel, how did you say it?
Let's see
It's
how
MOREL, whatever.
Yeah.
morale.
What is interesting is they are not farm raised like other oyster mushrooms, portobello mushrooms, they can only grow in the wild. So they have to be foraged for.
Cool.
I thought that was
Okay.
cool little tidbit.
They're expensive.
So where do you, how do you cook? Like, they look crazy. They look like little tonsils.
They look like brains. There's probably all different types of morels, maybe, or is that just one type of?
I don't know. I'm Googling it. I was
know.
curious. I love mushrooms, and so does my husband. So we eat a ton of them. Weird ones, cool ones, normal ones. Like,
I'll eat whatever type of mushroom you give me. Just cut it.
I have to cut it up for her. She's a texture girl. And
I don't have many things when it comes to food, but that's the one. I mean, I'll eat a portobello if you stuff it with fun stuff, or eat like a stuffed mushroom or that sort of thing. But like,
Yeah.
if they're just like sliced and just like thrown into a saute, I'm like, oh, I don't know what it is.
Why the mushrooms?
what else is another interesting vegetable that how we go through seasons too, right?
And phases.
So what else are you doing other than mushrooms?
Yeah. Lately I'm really into fennel. You can cut the stalk and the fronds off of the bulb, and you can slice the stalks down and use it in place of celery. It's kind of got a sweetness to it. You could juice it, you could pickle it, you could candy it if you wanted to, but we're staying away from sugar now, so no candied. And then the bulb you can shave down, and I kind of shock them in ice water, and they do this really cool like 3D kind of thing. And so I use it as a garnish with dinner parties. So I'm loving fennel. And you can make fennel tea also, fennel essential oil, or just like you can find fennel tea bags. It's really good for digestion. And then also red cabbage. Love red cabbage, love purple cauliflower. Just fresh lemon on lots of stuff, fresh herbs on lots of stuff this time of year too. Yeah.
Now, these are all non-bloating vegetables.
Yeah, sometimes the vegetables that tend to cause bloat are going to be more the cruciferous. So Brussels sprouts, broccoli, cauliflower, kale, stuff like that, until your digestive system gets used to all the fiber. So many people are not getting enough fiber. Fiber is basically the broom in the human body. So you want to make sure you're getting, as much fiber as you can, ideally, and that comes from plant-based food. So just focus on chewing your food enough. You could even focus on opting for cooked food versus raw food if you're having trouble digesting. And then sometimes too, that's where it can be helpful to work with someone, or just kind of to notice and experiment for yourself of, I do better, or my digestion is better when I eat fruit, and only fruit, instead of fruit on cereal or fruit on oats or fruit in, do you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
Sometimes you can really look more closely at that. What's it called? I can't remember what it's called. Food balancing, food. It's a particular kind of strategy. And so sometimes like people ask this question right out the gate. They say, oh, I want to go plant-based, but I heard that you can't digest fruit with oats. And they're like, they're putting themselves like way far down the path that like right now you just need to eat more lettuce, like start there.
Right.
But for you, Jackie, it sounds like maybe you're playing with some more digestive things. So just kind of start to notice. And the other thing too, is to try to have a full glass of water about 15 to 20 minutes before you eat. That way it hydrates your stomach lining. It just kind of gets the whole system ready to process that food.
Boom.
So that can really help. Yeah.
Digestion all the time. Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
So last night we had our Cooking with Confidence, and one of the things I wanted to do with the ladies for the first time ever, I didn't send out a recipe. I'm like, we're doing food prep. And I left it at that, thinking, bring whatever you want to cook. Right. So the strategizing of what to put in where, how to save time, make it more efficient. But one of the fun things I did with Taffy, who is usually like, it's this, it's this, it's this, it's this. I said, well, go get your essential oils. So we played with orange and lemon and rosemary, and she had chicken that she had already cooked, but it's like, what are we going to do with this? So we played, and I was so happy. I was so proud of you, Taffy, because Like, what's the worst that's gonna happen? You don't like it, you add something else, you end up, like,
Yeah,
Amazing.
which I did add something else and it was better.
right. Smoked paprika.
That might be a fun topic, is if you have something that has too much flavor in one direction, like if it's too salty, how do you fix it?
What do you do?
What do you do? That might be
Yeah. Yeah.
Challenge, Lauren.
Yeah, next time we can do troubleshooting, intuitive cooking troubleshooting.
Yeah, I think that would be really cool, because those
Yeah.
are things that we do all the time, and it's stuff that we don't always talk about because there's just so much.
Right.
You know what
And I'd like to learn more. I mean, just because the way we do it, I want to know how
Yeah,
you do,
yeah.
like it's
Yeah.
so fun.
I mean? I sure do.
Share.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, cool. So between now and then, maybe think of some of those questions, or like as you're cooking,
Yeah.
in the next several weeks, it's like, oh shoot, I didn't have this ingredient. What could I have used instead? Or, oh shoot, it's too sweet, it's too sour, it's too whatever. So
Yeah.
bring all those questions, maybe compile them ahead of time, and then we'll do more Q&A, but focused on that. That'll be a good one.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, mine last night was too sour with the lime.
Right.
What was it
Yeah.
that you made? A chicken dish of some kind?
Yeah, well, it was just a chicken salad we did with some lime, some actual lime juice, and then rosemary and wild orange, essential oils, some cucumbers and celery,
Pepper.
Interesting.
and
Yeah,
pepper and salt.
I think so. It was chicken salad like with mayo and stuff, or like chicken on a salad?
No, it was just the chicken. She had cooked chicken that we needed to play around with so
Yep.
that she could do something different with it.
Gotcha. I think if it were me, just kind of off the cuff, I would have done a rosemary vinaigrette to toss the chicken in, and then I would have done a salad dressing with the citrus essential oils, like a vinaigrette, like a mustard citrus kind of vinaigrette perhaps. And then I would have treated like maybe just a quick marinade of the chicken with the rosemary. Yeah.
Even if the chicken was already cooked?
Yep.
And then it just soaks in and you put that on top of.
Yep. Exactly. So I would have concentrated the rosemary flavor on the chicken only.
Right. Got you. Instead of putting it all through.
Yep. And then you have the separate, like a citrus infused vinaigrette or a dressing or something, and that you can use on multiple things. And then separately, now you have the rosemary chicken, which maybe there was some left over. You could make a chicken sandwich or something.
Yeah,
Yep.
right. Perfect.
Cool. Crystal made us tacos on lettuce boats.
Let us both.
Yum.
Let it go,
Wow.
baby. It was so good.
Awesome.
Taco problem, it's real.
Me too. I love tacos. Just send more tacos. Don't send
Right.
help.
She's like, you know what I could go for? And I'm always like, what? Because I'm thinking it's 6:00 in the morning. Coffee? She's like, tacos.
It's hilarious to me that I've done this like 5 times now. I'm like, we'll be hiking in the woods. You know what I could really go for? And she's like,
A drink?
a drink. And I'm like,
Tacos. It's
taco.
one of these days, maybe I'll get it right.
Well, that's good. We used to eat cold macaroni or cold pizza in the morning.
What question?
Oh,
Never
gosh.
know.
Well, all right, my friends. I hope you're feeling
Yes.
supercharged and inspired to carry you forward in the next couple of weeks.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank
Thanks,
you so much for your time, love. And we will
You're
chat
welcome.
soon.
Sounds good.
All right, honey. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Have a great day, everybody.